You know, I hate YouTube. It's so stupid. I check my comments on my videos, and I'm sorry about my. Hold on. I check my comments for my videos every day, multiple times a day, and there's one set of thread of comments in one specific video, and it didn't show up in my comments feed on YouTube Studio. I went out of my way to go to that video and then go to the comment section because I was anticipating a reply, and I got that reply. And I will show you. It's by a guy named, or somebody, I don't know their gender, 1010 World. And basically, he made a comment about Satanism in the Linux world, open source world, and how it makes him feel kind of uneasy. And so yeah, I just checked on the video and I see your reply, and I just read it in full, and I want to make a response to that, even though it is late, and I might be just as incoherent as I was as when I made my previous reply to you. So, from a Gnostic perspective, Microsoft would more aptly resemble God, which is interesting. I mean that in the sense of being willing to deceive and mercilessly kill in droves out of resentment for his own existence, but still upholding this proper and holy aesthetic. Do you mean that Microsoft as a company is more in line or in alignment with Christian values? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not entirely sure what I was saying there. Just sort of throwing words out. Sometimes it's good to just throw words out, even if they don't mean something at first glance, because it evokes some sort of thought. Anyway, I don't mean resembles Christian values, I mean resembles God in a way. Being this, I guess, totalitarian, oppressive force. And there's... What do I mean? I mean it in such a way that most people aren't willing to make a change away from Windows, and Windows is just what they have. Microsoft is just what they have, and because of that, Microsoft just gets to do what they want and screw with these people. It's sort of like God and his him putting evil into the world. Not saying that this is a view that many people hold, but putting evil into the world just because the people have no other choice. And that's sort of what I was trying to get at there. And you seem a lot more knowledgeable in the scripture than I do. Satan did not tell a complete lie, but rather a mixed truth. For example, he told Eve that if she ate the fruit, she would be like God, knowing good and evil, which was partially true. But he also lied about not dying, as they did experience spiritual death. True. And I guess this can come down to translation or interpretation, really. But they didn't die in the moment, even though you could say that they experienced a spiritual death. It might be up for debate. I don't know. Maybe I should read more scripture. I think that would benefit me a lot, actually. This aligns with the idea that Satan often tells the truth but adds a lie or omits important details. The serpent's statement that you will not surely die is seen as a half-truth. While Adam and Eve did not die physically immediately, they did experience a spiritual death, as mentioned in the Ephesians 2, where it states that people are dead in their trespasses and sins. It kills their spirit. That was my philosophical rant. To sum it up, I think Linux is amazing for what it has to offer, but I feel uneasy about it at the same time. There's another paragraph here. I'm reading it out of order. Yeah, you seem very knowledgeable in this. Maybe I should read more and then make a response after that, but what you're saying does make sense. And I will concede that I was somewhat just like throwing words out there. As what's the word? That's why I put the brackets saying I don't know what I'm saying. There's another paragraph here. I read the article Linux is not Christian, here's why, by I cannot pronounce that name, which went into great detail about the satanistic pagan aspects of Linux. I guess red flags for you, for any company, are symbols of skulls, death, Satan, you know. When you look at a person and you get a feeling of something is off, but don't you also get that from a company, e.g. if you use an antivirus program by a developer and you don't know them, who uses the devil, which is a representation of evil, as a logo, or if you go to a dentist and they're wearing a shirt with a skull, you might consider choosing another dentist. No? Yeah, I would. I would definitely. The sort of ideas in my head floating around when I made my original response, sort of like the balance between chaos and order, and I think Linux falls more on that end of chaos, whereas the devil also falls on that side of the spectrum here, because Linux gives you freedom to do really whatever you want, and in that freedom can come analysis paralysis, or not knowing which way to go because you can go any way. There's so much possibility that maybe you just don't do anything, or you don't know where to start. And the fact that Linux is sort of an environment where you can do whatever you want, it definitely would attract people who are more into this satanic side of our humanity, of society. Because a lot of people in that sector, in that category, they have problems with authority, and I definitely do have problems with authority as well. I like being rebellious, but only in the most insignificant ways, such as with Linux. So yeah, I do like the chaos, but I also like order. I like both of these things, and they need to exist together in order for me to be content. Like function and aesthetics, it's the same thing. It's all interconnected somehow. I don't understand it. But it boils down to you always need a balance, and Linux is a vehicle to push yourself to the chaotic end of that spectrum, but I think it's imperative that you don't fall victim to becoming nihilistic, and I think that's definitely a possibility once you it's late, I'm tired, but I wanted to get this out anyway. Let me think for a second. You need progressive people, and you also need conservative people. That's just a fact. There is going to be conflict between those two groups of people, but the conservative people keep everybody alive, and the liberal people, or progressive people, I should say, push the boundaries of what is possible. I definitely get the sense that a lot of alternative people flock to Linux because it is sort of like an alternative thing, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, there is a side of Linux, the one that I'm familiar with, uh, that I engage with, is like Luke Smith, that sort of side of YouTube where he's an Orthodox Catholic. Like, he's the furthest removed from any of the occult stuff or the satanic stuff as possible. But the Linux people at school, like at universities that I see, they're more on the progressive side of the spectrum, or more inclined to appreciate things like Satanism. So it is an interesting point that you bring up. And to bring up the doctor or dentist thing that you talked about, yeah, I would definitely think twice about using a doctor that used like Satanistic symbols in their logos and stuff. I wouldn't like that very much. I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to the woke or like Satanistic stuff in our media. Like I said in my reply, I get why it's done. I mean, maybe there is some conspiracy where there's all these executives at the top who worship Satan, and they're putting these messages in the media subliminally to trick your mind or whatever. I don't really believe that. I think that people are just doing that because it's rebellious, because it's different. And I'd be okay with it, but I also don't like the degenerate actions and stuff that go along with those symbols that you see in the media. Like, I'm talking about who's that Old Town Road guy? Gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. He did a music video where I didn't watch it, but I know it was just like very Satanistic, and all those symbols were in there, and it was very degenerate what they were doing in the music video, and I don't like that. I really don't. And I don't think that's something that we should promote. There used to be stigma around all these things, and I think we've made it our goal as a society to remove stigma from a lot of our everyday life. Like, if you want to solve problems with addiction, you just remove the stigma around addiction. I'm not going to say that that doesn't work, but I'm going to say that definitely does not work. It's stupid. And a lot of the times, these people that are trying to remove stigma around things are progressives that are trying to push the boundaries, and there are boundaries there for a reason. They've been put there because of evolution by natural selection, I'd assume. They're not just there for no reason. It's because if societies don't have these boundaries, then societies fall apart. That's why our society has existed for so long and is functional, more or less. And the thing with these progressive types is that once they push the boundary a little bit and they find that they're allowed to do that, they push it even more and even more and even more until you get like, I don't want to get super political on this channel, but you get like Satanistic dudes twerking on music videos, and it's just like, I don't want to see that. I wouldn't want my kids to see that if I had kids. And there's really no reason for this to exist besides being edgy and degenerate. I really have a problem with degeneracy. You could believe whatever you want. You could do whatever you want. I don't really care, as long as you have self-respect and you're not a degenerate person. I tend to respect you for any beliefs that you may have. Like, for me, I really don't care about what somebody believes as long as they're able to have a reasonable discussion about things. And it seems to me like there's no reasonable discussion to be had with people that are like this, who are promoting such degenerate behavior. I really don't know if I'm making sense. This video is already 15 minutes long. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna end it now. But thank you for your comment, 1010 World. I appreciate how much time you put into that thoughtful reply, and I'm really sorry that it didn't go through the first time. Like, somebody else had this problem, and I feel really bad about it, because you asked me, did I delete your reply? No, I did not. I did not. That'd make me a terrible person if I did that. I didn't even get it. So thank you for rewriting it. I'm very blessed to have you take the time to do that. You know, it means a lot to me, I should say. So thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll make a proper video about this when I'm less tired and I feel more presentable, but this is what you get for the time being. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.